scrape it up, and then if you want, you can make it up. Take it up, drop it back down so you shake it up. Scrape it up, and then if you want, you can make it up. Take it up, drop it back down so you shake it up. I'm always first, that's crazy. My future never been hazy. I'm gonna pop it till I drop, cause I ain't dropping Miss Daisy. I'm always first, that's crazy. My future never been hazy. I got a boast, I move like a ghost. Give them that Patrick Swayze's. All of them lost, they knew the cost. I chase them down, I'm the boss. Up in the circle, hitting that purple. If that don't work, maybe a purple. Madison High, that is the spot where I get paid every raise. Sign on my checks with a big X, then get up out of my space. I'm always first, that's crazy. My future never been hazy. All of my shit, always legit, it's just what my mama gave me. I'm always first, that's crazy. My future never been hazy. Call it a win, once I begin, I'ma do it for my baby. Running back, watch out cause I'm on the attack. Passing by, it's easy, I'm not gonna lie. Running back, watch out cause I'm on the attack. Passing by, it's easy, I'm not gonna lie. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. I am the one, hot like the sun, winning the races that pay me. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. Hitting the throttle, popping the bottle, pour it on top of like gravy. It's never a cap, winning the snap, and no one got nothing to say. I'm in every place, taking every race, nobody can get in my way. Tapping the brake, first to the tape, I never knew how to die. Give all the rest, all of my best, all of that tanks running dry. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. You think you know how this will go, don't be so goddamn hasty. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. I'll see you there, blood in the air, victory's gonna be tasty. Crazy. My future never been hazy. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy. I'm always first, it's crazy. My future never been hazy.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1-300-122-598 to learn more, or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
The tracks you'd forgotten about.
Are the ones you love.
131 Retro.
These go to 11.
This is it! Never stop, never quit. Now's the time. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. Twisted envy, clawing hands, all below me from where I stand. Reaching higher, ever still, shape the future to my will. Never stop, never quit. Now's the time. This is it. This is it. This is it.
Hello and welcome to another incredible season of OzOvals competition. And we're starting it a somewhat familiar venue at this point. We're at the World Center of Speed once again, the Daytona International Speedway. But unlike last time out, we are not at the current form of this legendary racing circuit. We are at the Legacy Daytona International Speedway. That's right, old, bumpy Daytona. I hope that none of our drivers have any loose fillings, because they're not going to have them anymore after 100 laps here. I'm joined by my broadcast partners, Stephen Kernick and Kobe Jordan. And how about it, Stephen? Your first race here as a part of the OzOval broadcast. What are you looking forward to for tonight and this season?
I'm looking forward to just seeing how the drivers are going to take up the season. With now adding in stage racing, there's been lots of chatter in the pits of who's going to be able to take up the points, who's going to be able to move it up through the order. That has been a large part to the chats down by the drivers, but also I'm looking forward to seeing what the drivers can do here tonight, as there's a little bit of ring rust for these drivers to really think outside the box. And here at Daytona, 100 laps, they're going to run roughly about 402 kilometers at the end of the race, which does make things a bit more interesting. Some worrying about how far they can actually go on a set of tires, how far the tank will go, especially since it's at 100% this time around, and also how long they can actually keep up the pace, the stamina to keep moving forward, especially after last season was quite hectic.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, we now have the keys to the race. Key number 1, maintaining draft position without becoming caught in the mid-pack chaos. Obviously, we've all seen races at Daytona. We know what happens. The big one is always looming, and the likelihood of even getting 2 or 3 big ones throughout these 100 laps is quite high. So being able to keep yourself out of these potential race-ending situations is paramount. It's not necessarily about speed around here at Daytona, it's survival. Takeaway key 2, Steven.
Working together in the draft to build race-winning momentum. It's not about going and punching away to the top. Sometimes it's about working with your competitors. Slipstreaming is going to be the main thing you want to work on. Saving a bit of fuel and pushing the queue forward. Also, finding your line with it. Just going to help having a buddy out on circuit than rather fighting solo and landing up right at the back of the pack with no one to play with.
And key number 3, executing green flag pit stops without losing the lead draft. We saw it absolutely matter last time out at the BMG 700. You need to nail your pit stops. There's no more important green flag pit stop than here at any of the major drafting tracks. One slight mistake, even just sliding over your box a little bit, just having to back up 1 second, that will cost you the lead draft. It is not hard to lose the draft in these cars and all the drag they provide from these wings. So if you don't nail every part of this pit stop, you are going to basically throw away any chance of winning this race unless you get a caution. But at that point, your destiny rests in the hands of others, not your own.
Now, it's going to be an exciting one. As we saw in our intro, even getting into pit lane can turn into a bit of a daunting process. You've got to be able to look at the queue ahead of you and also slow these behemoths down. You've got monstrous machines, no ABS, no TC to play with. You've got to try and keep it all together. And here at Daytona, coming off of the high embankments at pace, does make things a little bit more interesting, especially when you're trying to get down in pit lane and also to avoid the penalties for speeding in pit lane. That has also been quite compromising to quite a number of drivers over the years, and especially when our drivers tend to push a little too hard trying to go at one another. Now, on practice, we've seen multiple drivers actually practicing going into pit lane, working with each other in drafting, then diving into the pits together just to make sure they can get their braking markers absolutely perfect to get in as fast as possible, but ensure that they're not going to score the penalty or, worst case scenario, spin out while going and trying to get into the pits.
Absolutely. All right, well, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break before we really get started for tonight's action, so we will be back shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
The track sheet for
Are the ones you love.
131 Retro.
These go to 11.
Have of missing the inevitable chaos. Now, of course, we've seen plenty of wrecks happen from the race leaders, so your odds of getting involved in a major wreck at Daytona are never zero. But it definitely puts the percentage more in your favor. So right now, top of the charts is last week's BMG 700 winner, Matthew Raymond, at a 48.630.
Not too far behind Craig Roffey, who's dived back into the pits. He's happy with his qualifying, holds on second, and trying to see what's going to be the moving on up. And Dan Blanco going and having a good time. He's up into third. Well, just gets dropped down by Jacob Dean, who's got some serious pace underneath him here tonight, and trying to see if he can move up. So far, 48.6 seems to be the race pace for our top 5, but I do expect a couple of drivers to really give it a proper shot and see if they can get down to a 47 if possible.
Yeah, and it's interesting watching everyone go through qualifying. It's easy to think that they got all the fill and experience you could hope for with qualifying for Daytona, considering all the prep that went into qualifying for last week's BMG 700. But of course, that one was A, 1 lap, 2, open set, and 3, at new soft as a nice warm blanket Daytona, not this bumpy monstrosity. So what you learned last week really isn't helping you this week, but it's still not all that surprising to see the 83 car back up on the top of the charts.
It's good to see a couple of drivers still able to get a time on the board, as we see Gary Wellman trying to give it one big push to see how far up the order he can go. Gets up into 11th position. With that being said, let's go and pay the bills. We'll be right back.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1300-122-598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Alrighty, we are back, and it's time to take a look at the starting grid. Your pole sitter, the 83 of Matty Raymond, next to the 030 of Craig Roffey.
Good to see them out there. Jacob Dean will take the second row with Dan Blanco going and riding right next to him.
Got the 157 of David Simmons next to the 3 of Adam Malone.
Goes down Ruben Phelps, trying to see what he can do with Con Bennett in going and chasing down.
And rounding out the top 10 is the 16 of Todd Maxfield and the 992 of Giuseppe Maiolo.
Gary Wellman, after a hard chase, managed to move himself up, but he's got Caleb Connor next to him.
Row 7, we have the 083 of Troy Mortensen and the 131 of Steve Hoppin.
Tim Roffey will be holding on to the fort with Nigel Payton in 16th position.
Row 9 has the 88 of Jake Atkinson and the 231 of PJ Paul Jackson going from the booth to the cockpit.
Jason Simon and Nicholas Welsh are looking to chase each other down in 19th and 20th position.
85 of Tony Roffey and the 23 of Derek Jacobs on row 11.
Nick Burling and Greg Schulten going and holding on for 23rd and 24th.
The 42 of Lockyer Quijo and the 016 of Scott McClintock on row 13.
Rounding out the pack, Shane Roffey looking to try and fight it out. Did not set a time in qualifying. It's interesting to see a couple of drivers going and taking the risk to start at the back, James.
Yeah, but it's definitely a strategy you see employed a lot at the super speedways, hoping to be at the back and give yourself enough time to dodge what's coming if and when that wreck breaks out. Now it's time to talk about our race picks, rather. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with Gary Wellman. I think Gary is going to start off the season with a win and try to launch another campaign for another championship.
I'll have to go with last season's champion, Ruben Phelps, to be at the top. And ultimately seems quite confident, especially towards the latter part of the season, and seems to be a little bit more put together here at Daytona to charge to the front.
And I've gone with Craig Roffey. When I picked him, I hadn't actually seen him turn a lap, but he qualified on the front row, so I'm quite happy with that. Good start for my picking season. Yeah, but it's a long way to go, but I'll shut up now because you boys have got a race to call.
Absolutely. As the pace car is getting ready to make our left-hand turn on the pit road, Matty Raymond will lead us to the green flag. Green's going. We are underway at Daytona. See, even start for the front row. Not a great start for part of the outside lane there. I think there was a little bit of a hesitation from Steve Hoppin. That's going to cause a little bit of a gap between the now two packs as we are side by side through 1 and 2.
Tires are still cold on the cars, and each of them trying to find their lanes. Ultimately, it's going to be a hard one, as we do see the 3 of Adam Malone getting down low and hoping to just see if he can move the queue at the bottom a bit more forward, leaving the rest at the top high and dry.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of that. You'll see a lot of guys want to run down the inside. But that's not always the case here at Old Daytona. You'll actually see a lot of running around the outside. It's a lot easier to be up by the wall and more preferable here at Old Daytona because of all the bumps on that inside. You can see, look at the cars, the way they are jumping up and down. It looks like they are boats going through the roughest of waters that you can imagine, because that is exactly what they are. I remember doing a hosted at this race at this track with the DW12, and the feedback from the bumps was so bad, I swear it gave me a hairline fracture on one of my fingers. This is on a Fanatec CSL Elite. I don't want to know what that would have felt like in a direct drive.
Going to be absolutely manic, and a couple of the drivers having to really think outside the box with their setups, and also how far are they going to run on the set of tires, because the more that these cars jump around underneath them, more the life is getting taken out, and everyone's trying to stretch the tanks a little bit further, but they've also got to take the concern of what is the inside tires doing, how much is it taking a bit of wear, the outside taking most of the strain, as the 77 of Dan Blanco holds at the top. He's trying to go and keep it all together. He's getting a little bit of assistance from Craig Roffey, who holds on for second place, pushing a bit forward down the straightaways, and hoping that they can keep the pace moving forward. Unfortunately, it's not really working out, as Con Bennett is closing up at a rate of knots and gets right up against the side of Dan, hoping to get a side draft.
Yeah, I see the brand new paints for the Fox 1 boys there. I see a lot more black on it. Far cry from their paint schemes last season. So used to seeing Blinko in the bright yellow car that it's gonna take a minute to get used to the mostly black with the yellow trim. Then you see Maiolo up there, second place outside lane, black with his red, and then see Caleb O'Connor rolling. Is that Caleb or is that Jacob? No, Caleb is I think the black and yellow Mustang. That is Jacob in the purple and black Fox 1 car. Honestly, those paints look real nice, boys.
It's interesting to go and see while the two are fighting up high and left the rest of the grid alone. It's going to be a hard one, as at the moment Matthew Raymond joining on the low line is able to keep up the pace. It's essentially a 2 versus 3 situation here, and well, being on the high line, as you said, a little bit easier on the cars, a little bit easier on the drivers, but the question is, how much can they keep up that pace to stay towards the front, or when do they need to drop down, try and go and get a little bit of assistance, but also where can they go and move the queue forward, because the 131 of Steve Hoppert is now starting to close up and see if he can try and push the queue forward.
Yeah, it's good to see old Steve making his way up into the lead group.
Had a chat to Steve before he went out. He was saying he's looking forward to the race, but is a little bit nervous at how it's going to go. Been trying to get some good runs out on the circuit, but has been making a little bit of mistakes here and there that he feels might cost him a bit. He runs up higher than everyone, gets right up against the wall trying to get a bit of push, but we've now got a 3-wide situation. Steve Hoppert along with Matthew Raymond and Gillespie also getting involved into the fight, as it's all broken apart. Everyone looking to go to the front of the queue.
Oh, and here we go.
A little bit tense.
We sure do. Our first bit of 3 wide, as here comes Steve looking for the lead around Bennett and Blinko. Almost contact between Bennett and Hoppet. Oh, steady, boys. And again, you have to factor in the bumps. You can't just go 3 wide and not really think about it like what we were doing all last week. The bumps are going to upset the car. It's going to move it up. So you have to be wary of that. It will make this 3 wide a lot more difficult. And God help. Oh, we're going to get in the back. Oh, a huge hit for Adam Malone. Oh,
of
it's
you
the
taken
first
out to
big
pieces.
one.
That is a problem. Adam Malone looking the worst. Front suspension caved in. The windscreen wipers going just to go and try and sort out. But that is a car in absolute pain. And I do suspect engine and gearbox is feeling it as well as he limps it back into the pits. Not the way you want to start off your season. And unfortunately, our first Ford going into the pits, Todd Maxfield, had to get towed back in as well. So 2 cars needing some serious repair.
Yeah, look at that. That is a gnarly hit for the 3 of Adam Malone. Just hooked right up the track. My word, that. I just hope Adam's okay.
Driver who's
See,
also got a meatball flag is Greg Schulten. It seems
Ooh.
like it, and just getting tapped on the rear, and that's unfortunately all she wrote.
Yeah, it looked like a bad bump into the corner to one of the Roffies from 44 car. I'm not entirely sure who that is. Was that? Who's the? Oh, it's Greg Schulten. Yeah, just a bad bump that put Roffe sideways down into Malone. And right hooks Adam straight back up the wall. My God. And then, a huge hit for Greg as well. And then you see, believe Todd Maxfield involved. He's going to have it happen right in his lap. Yeah, that's the 16 that ends up T-poning the 44. And then I think another hit for good measure for Todd. See Patton involved. One of the platinum cars involved as well. I think that might be Tireman.
A couple of drivers taking the opportunity to dive into the pits and try and get their cars sorted out. But also, this is not a safety car they wanted. And unfortunately, missing out the pit box for one of our cars. Losing out a bit of time there, something we spoke about as part of the key things not to do before this race. It looks like one of our drivers, unfortunately, missing it out.
Yeah, if there's ever a time for that to happen, it's definitely going to be on a yellow flag pit stop at lap 9. You know, it doesn't feel like as big of a penalty under yellow because you're going to lose spots doing it, obviously, but you don't have to worry about losing the draft in the process, unlike a green flag pit stop. But that's only a minor silver lining, all things considered. But yeah, that was a rough one. We'll go ahead and get our first break in of the night. We'll be back shortly.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
The tracks you'd forgotten about are the ones you love.
131 Retro.
These go to 11.
Alrighty, we are back and about ready to get back at it. See, Colin Bennett is still your race leader here, with Blinko next to him. Reset the top 10 real quick. It's Bennett, Blinko with Hoppet, Rafi, and Giuseppe Maiolo, the top 5. Pole center, Matty Raymond with blocker Paul Jackson already up into the top 10. How about that? With Kim Rafi, Ruben Phelps, and Caleb O'Connor rounding out the top 10. And, well, we'll see if that early wreck calms anything down, but knowing everyone here, I don't think that's going to happen, as the pace car is getting ready to make the hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Colin Bennett will lead us back to the restart zone. Green means go. We're back underway at Daytona. See, great jump for Colin. Not a great jump at all for Steve Hoppett right behind in 3rd place. It's going to cause a pretty big checkup. And more importantly, that is going to murder the inside lane right now, as Bennett's going to have some help from Matty Raymond jumping down. And that's going to be a huge boon to Raymond. That's going to allow him to draft all the way up to Bennett and take over a P2 on the inside lane.
And getting the run out of the corner, able to push his nose forward, and he's getting a bit of assistance. Colin Bennett now starting to drop down. Craig Roffey trying to see if he can push the queue forward. Each of the drivers trying out their best, but take a look at Steve Hoppett, our hard charger before the safety car, now finding himself right down the order and trying to pick up the pieces of the race in 9th position at the moment, 5 places from where he's originally started. But also, it's got to be Lachlan, who sits 17 places up from where he started, 131 on a hard charge, and looking to make a big run here.
Yeah, Lockie, the biggest mover, already up into P8. So you see, there's a lot of scattered draft in the back. Kind of a huge break on some of the lines. See a pretty big gap on the outside, but now it's starting to be filled as the cars make their way back up. As you see Avalon back on track. They did a fantastic job on that 3 car. Yeah, you may say they repaired it fast.
Try to get that car back out on the circuit as fast as possible, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him. 18 positions down from where he started, as we do see Steve taking to the infield though, and is right down low. He's just trying to see where he can go into the pits and take it easy, as the whole field nails it past him, and he joins right back.
Whoa,
to
Steve!
Having a snap.
Steve, my God, he got a lot closer to Derek Jacobs than Derek certainly wanted to. Oh boy, yeah, that Steven, that on plate racing is known as a nope. You see what's going on around you and you're like, nope, don't like this, and you go right to the back. You typically don't see it a whole heck of a lot today, just because how hard it is to kind of gain that track position back with some of these newer race cars, and specifically the newer NASCAR stock cars. But you'll still see it, and you'll still definitely see it in league base racing.
Beautiful onboards of some of the setups our drivers are using. Triple screen with bezel-free kit, and the Sim Magic out on the front wheel is absolutely fantastic to see the drivers trying out different things, and also you get to see different price ranges, meaning that you can fight it out every way possible. Unfortunately, one car that's not too happy, the 44, starting to drop down the order and needing a serious nose repair.
Yeah, I'm guessing the 266 didn't quite know that there was ability to repair his car fast, and ends up paying the price for it, as he is 4 laps down. Now, you're never truly out of a super speedway race, especially if you're the only one laps down. You know, if we get a caution, which is at all possible, then he'll be the one getting the lucky dog and getting back up. He's just gonna need a lot of cautions, and preferably oh yeah, that's right. We're also having stage racing this season. I almost forgot about that.
Well, stage racing is definitely going to make a little bit of a handy situation to score a few points and to make sure that, well, you want to be at the top. And that was a discussion point, James, by the drivers, is it worth pushing so hard to try and get to the sharp end of the field at the first stage of the race, or to try and work out the long game and see what you can do? Lots of drivers were debating whether it's worth the risk or not to try be at the sharp end of the field to come the first stage.
Absolutely, but those points mean a lot. They're worth fighting for, and you gotta kind of put yourself in some uncomfortable positions here if you want to bring home those points. And at a track like Daytona, where, you know, anyone can get up into the front and be up at the fray, you know, you've got to take those chances and get those points. You don't know how many opportunities to get these real good stage points that are gonna pop up. It's difficult going up against the Craig Roffeys, the Ruben Phelps, Wellman, just to name a few. So you got to take the points where you can.
The handy part with it as well is the drivers get to make up a little bit of points lost that they get in the later stage of the races, just in case we do have contact like we saw at the early stages of this race. However, for Colin and Dan, who are jostling for the lead and just begging for Matthew and Craig Roffey to give them a little bit of a hand and try and move the queue forward, they are absolutely battling to keep it in check with a hell of a fight on their hands.
You see right now, Blinko just barely eking out ahead. Got one green and white car behind him, another green and white car right next to him. A whole lot of deja vu.
I think you got to keep your eye out on the prize. Everyone needs to go and fight it out, Matt, a little bit forward. Let's see ideally what is going to be the big game plan out in the fight.
Still side by side here. Bennett getting a great shove from Matty Raymond as he's got the whole SRN contingency right there behind him. It's a very nice position to be in if you're Colin Bennett, having your sister teammates right there behind you giving you support.
Always fantastic to see, and also the virtual grandstands going and coming alive with the racing, as we do see Matty Raymond trying to push on forward. He currently lies in third place, and come the first stage being done and dusted, which typically stage racing is structured segments in the race with a tactical pause in between. It also goes and captures whoever's in that position. So take it, you're in third place for Craig Roffey at the moment against Matthew Raymond. You will get third place come the first stage, and that's roughly about 25% into the race to roughly about 30% into the race. That will be your first set of points. It's broken up into usually 3 to 4 stages in a race, but this is a bit of a way to help the drivers move up forward, and also with a tactical break to try and help out. It also resets the racing, and for those that do have bad luck, they have a second chance of maximizing a few points. So it's always handy to have it, and being the first season with it, it's really gone and helped out the drivers think a little bit outside the box. Some thinking a little bit more tactically of where they want to be at the end of each stage. For others, it's been, well, as Steve Hoppert explained, if I'm not racing for points, I'm just going to keep my foot flat and see where I come at the end of it.
sir. And we are coming to the end of stage 1 here. Stage 1 is on lap 25. So the pay window is coming up quick.
Drivers now frantically going and seeing what they can do. Dan trying to push on forward, but it looks like we're going to land up with a 3-wide situation yet again, as it's a high fight. Take a look. Craig Roffey pushing forward.
Yeah, and Craig is going to have some help with another green and white car. Gary Wellman, they're trying to make their way up.
This is getting manic, and you can see how they're starting to split. They're trying to open things up a little bit. It's nose to tail, but the gaps in between are looking so tantalizing for everyone to see if they can get that last push forward. This is gonna be more and more of a push, and see what you can do. That apron looking rather tasty for some to see if they can peer on forward. Ultimately, who's going to maximize the points, as now they're heading towards the end of the first stage, and at the moment, Colin looking to take the first haul of points.
Yeah, Blinko doing what he can on the middle lane. He's got help from his teammate Maiolo right behind, and right now they are looking the best. Oh man, that was too close to call, and that's only coming to 2 to go in the stage. It's going to get even more hectic as you see Kim Roffey up there joining that third lane, trying to help his brother get the stage win here.
This is getting wild, and this is something we've been waiting for. They've been sitting, waiting for the opportunity, and now looking to push on forward. Everyone keeping their foot deep in it, trying to see if they can move the queues forward, trying to maximize the points. You want to try be in the top 10 as much as possible to maximize the points, and now it's starting to splay out. Now it's getting manic.
There we go. 1 lap to go in stage 1. Who's going to take the points? Will we even make it to the green and white checkered flag? Oh, near contact! Burling into Kim Roffey. But they're going to keep it straight. Not even a hint of sideways for either drivers. But a moment for Craig Roffey. He's going to slide up to the wall. That's going to cause a checkup on the outside lane. But Wellman trying to give him the shove to get back up. Right now, it is still Daniel Blinko leading this race. Getting the shove from his teammate through the middle. As you see, Colin Bennett slides up. Little bit of side draft through 3 and 4. Coming off of turn 4, green-white checkered in their sights. Who's going to take it? Roffey getting the shove from Wellman at the line. It's going to be Daniel Blinko winning stage 1.
A safety car coming out to slow the pace down, and drivers to sit down, reset, get themselves back in order. But man, oh man, you could see everyone was determined to go for the charge to see how far they can get themselves up the order. Now the question comes down. You've got to settle the pace. You've got to think about strategy coming into play. Fuel and tires. As the first stage completed, our safety car going and racing through the grid. I think quicker than ever before, I have to say.
No kidding. Pace car was getting it. Good God.
See, now this is the question. There's iRacing trying to win the race now by sending the safety car through the lots. I have to say, that must be the W13 engine they put in the car instead of the usual Ford that they run. But this is now where things get very interesting, and drivers will be taking a look at how does the tires feel, because as they slow the pace down, they're able to save a little bit of fuel, but also they will start to feel the wear and tear on the tires. Is it worth staying out that little bit longer? Is it going to be dive into the pits and get yourself sorted? Fresh set of boots. They have 3 tire sets to play with here, so it's well worth getting a new first set of rubbers ready. Pit stops are coming in. Everyone's slowing down the pace and now trying to get themselves organized.
And as they all do that, we're going to go ahead and head to break, and we will be back with you soon.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1300 122 598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
The tracks you'd forgotten about are the ones you love.
131 Retro.
These go to 11.
Alrighty, we are back and about ready to get back at it, and you see Shane Roffey and Caleb O'Connor both stayed out. It's a bit of a bold strategy there. I'm fairly certain we're going to need to make a pit during this second stage if for those that stayed out. Maybe, I don't know. You have to imagine that they're probably good to go, or at least close to making it to the end of stage 2 without having to pit, if they're going to make a strategy call like this there, Steven.
Well, Shane Roffey pitted in lap 8 after being part of the original incident.
Good point.
So that's where he's been able to make up enough fuel, obviously thinking, all right, well, I couldn't have got stage 1 due to the accident, but now I have a chance to be right at the top of the queue. He comes stage 2 to maximize the points. So a little bit of lady luck playing in the favor here for him, but now it's how long can he keep going on that tank and on that set of tires. It's been used in a hard push at stage 1, and as we saw, there was just a multitude of battles at the sharp end of the order, everyone trying to move forward.
Absolutely. As green means go, we're back underway at Daytona, and you see a lot of gap and space right now. My word, that is one of the most disjointed restarts I have ever seen here at Daytona. That is wild. Look at all that. It is almost completely single filed out now. What in the world happened?
Caught napping on the line, and unfortunately a couple of drivers definitely feeling it already, starting to try and figure out what they can do to make up a little bit of time. And everyone trying their absolute best to really move the queue on forward, as we did see Nick Burling trying to get into the turn, pull himself a little bit forward. But back up towards the sharp end, it is Caleb O'Connor at the top.
Yeah, and a big move from O'Connor right there to get the lead in front of Shane Roffey. And Shane says, nah, mate, I want it back. Jumps to the outside and will try to take the push from Wellman here and get back to the lead of this race.
This is going to be a manic drive of note, and I do think one driver that's going to be definitely feeling it is my pick, Ruben Phelps, who's way down the order, 11th position, the defending champion, now starting to see how hungry the competition is this season to be at the sharp end of the order, as we do see everyone piling on through, getting a bit of momentum, and already the queue starting to get back together after a bit of a, as you put it, a disjointed start. And everyone now waking up to the race of, okay, we got to get moving, but already drivers are getting feisty towards the back.
Yeah, it's a good job by everyone to work together and get everything back up. But you see, there's quite a few stragglers there at the back. I hope for their sake they are not on the verge of losing that draft here.
Drivers just trying to pick up the pieces after the devastating impact that they had early on in this race and trying to catch up to the queue. Fastest lap time of the race was actually set by Adam Malone on the previous lap of 47.14. Doesn't sound like much, but when you're working in split seconds to try and charge your way to the sharp end of the order, well, it makes a very big difference, as we're already starting to see a three-wide situation. Steve Hoppett was able to get the run in the first leg of the race, and it does look like the 61 of Shane Roffey trying his hand as well.
Yeah, Shane trying not to get freight train here, trying not to get sent to the back, and he's doing a great job of it. We've seen that these cars can kind of stick three wide for the lead on the outside, even with no help. Seen Nick Burling do that a lot, seen Peter Madsen do that a lot. And speaking of which, surprised not to see Peter Madsen out here for the season opener here at Daytona.
Mixing out on some crucial points in the early season. A bit of contact with the wall for Shane Roffey, as now he starts to fall down the order. A little bit of a rub against the concrete now starts to cost him a huge amount of time. And Dan trying to get into the back of him, see if he can try and assist. But we wait for the drivers to really push. The last time we saw a three-wide like this in stage one, it landed up with a minor contact in the back, which landed up with quite a few spares left out on the circuit of here at Daytona. But a hard charge towards the sharp end of the field. Caleb O'Connor trying his absolute best to stay in the lead of this race.
Yeah, meanwhile, you see Shane Roffey has got some help right now. You got Phelps right behind pushing him and trying to get whatever track position he can get from that. As him and the rest of the SRM boys, pretty much most of that lead group from stage one are in the back right now, and that's the trade-off when you lead early on at these plate races, Steven, is that you burn so much more fuel being out front that those in the back, they can use it to their advantage, save fuel and shorten up that pit stop and use it to manufacture track position for themselves.
The movement for the drivers as they bounce around left to right, so the bumps on the circuit starting to take effect. Everyone's feeling the pressure right now. A little bit more movement than what we saw in the first stage, as everyone's a little bit more worn out. They're trying their utmost best. Everyone got to see it was maximizing points to the front. Now it's all about trying to help each other out just that little bit more, but also the red mist coming down more and more as the race continues.
Absolutely, as you see these cars continuing to bounce up and down here. Whoa, meanwhile we almost got a... Yeah, we almost had four wide for a second right there. See, still no one
to move forward.
Go on, Steven.
I was going to say, Craig Roffey moving forward little by little, and Shane Roffey trying his best around the outside. But each of the drivers take a look towards the back, bouncing around. The aerodynamics of these cars making it a little bit more tricky, and I think more starting to feel the rears getting a little bit loose underneath them. It's fixed setup racing, but also these drivers having to try and fight through. Some might be feeling the car a little bit tighter than what they prefer.
Oh, meanwhile, a little bit of a blink for Shane Roffey right there. That's not what you want to see at the front of this race. And now it looks like we've got someone joining that third lane up at the top. Tony Roffey joining the party.
Roffey's family having a bit of fun out there, trying to see how far they can push on forward, but the drivers getting closer and closer to that second stage, more and more joining the queues, more and more are peering in through the gaps, trying to see, is there an opportunity to slide these cars on forward and try and see where they can go. An interesting mix, as it's all same setup, fixed setup racing, but also driver manufacturers leaning a little bit more toward Chevrolet versus Ford this time around.
Sounds like Ruben Phelps is reporting some of the blinking issues that we're seeing from Shane right now. And that just makes it so unbelievably difficult, Stephen, when you're trying to push and trying to be in close combat with someone and they're blinking. You don't know where they are, what's going to happen. How are you supposed to bump draft that which you cannot see?
As they do that, the picks up that the car's not there, so you lose a little bit of the draft as well for a split second, and it might not be much to the eye, but as a driver, it lands up costing so much time because suddenly you've got a whole bunch of airflow over the nose, then nothing yet again, and that just changes the balance of the car as well.
It absolutely does. Because of that, Tony Roffey backed out, so it's back to just 2 cars up on that third lane.
Looks like we got one into the pits. Nicholas Welsh looks like he's been assisted into pit lane. Got caught on the rear and sent into the dirt. So he managed to keep it out of trouble, but will score a penalty for a bad entry into the pit lane. He tries to get on the power a little bit early there. You can see how the rear snapping around underneath him. So a quick look at what happened to Nicholas Welsh, who was trying to keep it all together towards the back. He got a little bit of a hip check and sent down towards pit lane. And also, unsafe pit entry plus speeding equals drive-through penalty that would be issued out there. Not quite how you want your race to go, and I'm sure Nicholas is going to be saying a few words underneath that helmet for sure.
Yeah, absolutely unfortunate break for Nicholas Walsh right there. But a heck of a save. That could have been 1,000 times worse. Instead of getting the black flag, he was on the verge of receiving the black flag with the little orange circle on it.
Every driver dreads, but so far 3 drivers have seen during the course of this race. Just ask Greg Schulten at the back end of the field. He so far trying to pick himself through, but cars blinking as we do have quite a few starting to battle out there trying to keep it all together, and immediately drivers getting a little bit of a fright, coming slightly off the gas. You can't just get your foot right out of it, otherwise you land up just having the entire train concertina up against you and cause a bigger accident. You've got to try and lax off ever so slightly to make it work. It's a difficult situation, and especially as we get towards the end of stage 2, drivers are trying to pick up every single point they can and don't want to get their foot out of it.
See right now, Phelps pushing. Whoa! Almost too big of a push right there. We're forward. Oh! And Phelps is phasing through Shane Roffey. And there it is, around goes Shane Roffey.
Impact, impact, impact. Safety car out and formation in play. Shane Roffey from the sharp end of the field, suddenly getting a little bit too intimate with some of the drivers that he really didn't want to be around. And unfortunately, will need to get that car sorted out. That front end smashed to pieces is needing some serious repair work. But James, I mean, take us through that impact.
Yeah, you see just the blink. He phased through Roffey. And unfortunately, Tony Roffey wasn't as lucky, and it turns him in front of Kim Roffey. So, a whole lot of inadvertent and unfortunate Roffey on Roffey violence right there. Oh man,
that is going to be a bit of a rough one to talk about at the dinner table. But now drivers with 43 laps in. The first stage was done and dusted. Second stage towards its end. And now drivers thinking about what the pit stops are going to look like. At the moment, Caleb O'Connor at the sharp end of the field did not go into the pits in the first half. Still leads out the race at the moment. And this just saves him that little bit more fuel in the run. It's helping him out to stay at the sharp end of the order. Craig Roffey, however, will be sitting thinking, okay, I climbed into the back of Phelps a little bit earlier. Is this going to affect me? What does the aero look like? They'll be chatting to the spotters just to see if the car is clean or not, and whether it's going to be one they need to fix in the pits and take up a bit of time, as Kim Roffey and Gary Wellman dive into pit lane out of 13th and 14th position.
We're gonna go ahead and get another break in, and we will be back shortly.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1-300-122-598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, ready for countdown.
Man, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever heard. Ooh.
The tracks you'd forgotten about are the ones you love.
131 Retro.
These go to 11.
All right, we are back and just about ready to get back at it here. Resetting the top 10, it is Caleb O'Connor still with Craig Roffey next to him on the front row. Giuseppe Maiolo and Daniel Blanco. Fox 1, row 2. Nigel Patton back up into the top 5 after being involved in that first wreck. Nick Burling, Jacob Dean, Ruben Phelps, Todd Maxfield, and Paul Jackson round out the top 10. Is just going to be a 5-lap shootout here for stage number 2.
Gonna be a manic drive, and keep an eye. Nicholas Welch still has that drive-through penalty. He'll need a serve. But out front, Caleb O'Connor, who took the risk not to go into the pits at all at the end of stage 1, now finding himself in the lead, has got to give it one hard push to try and keep ahead of Craig Roffey. Gillespie will be trying to come at him. Dan Patton will be coming at him. It's going to be a manic drive, and I do expect a 3 wide once again.
Absolutely. As green means go, we're back underway at Daytona. Whoa! Little bit of a problematic restart for Giuseppe Maiolo. All kinds of wheel spin, having to drive the wheels off of it, trying to hold on to it, and he did just that. Oh, as there's going to be a little contact between him and Maxfield here. They're leaning on each other going into turn 1. Still kind of leaning on each other.
As Gillespie had an easy start, he got on the loud pedal a lot quicker than the rest and realized, hang on, I've got to come off, went down to the apron and cost him time. And now at the moment, just trying to pick up the pieces, and along with the frustration of, come on, the grid did not go when I needed to, and ended up losing out 6 positions.
And he just got the wall for a good measure there, exited turn 4. Not sure what's going on with that 992, but it has been a rough last lap or so for Giuseppe Maiolo. But here we go, 3 wide once again, 3 by 3 by 3 with 4 to go.
It's always the hardest when you're stuck in the middle, and these drivers trying everything they can to keep the cars in order. The little bit of bump draft they get, you've got to make sure you squared up with the rear. You got to make sure that you're not leaning too far to the right or too far to the left, otherwise we might land up having a wreck. But everyone trying to push the queue forward for Caleb O'Connor. This would be a great time to go and take the win in the second stage after taking the big gamble compared to the rest of the field to not pit at the end of stage 1.
Yeah, if you're going to make a strategy call like that to win the stage, you got to go and win the stage. Make that risk not be in vain. As you see, Nicholas Walsh trying to get out of the way after serving his penalty, but this might make us 4 wide here. Oh, boy. Oh, there it goes. Blanco around. Oh, they're 5 wide. They keep it straight. Maybe kind of hold on to it. Paul, what a drive. But we stay green somehow.
Not what you wanted to have, and unfortunately a couple of cars now thrown out of the mix. They were going for a solid point haul, now find themselves way down out of the top 10. Caleb O'Connor still trying to keep it together. Craig Roffey hunting him down in second. Nigel Patton along with Nick Berlin trying to push on forward, and just behind Todd Maxfield keeping it together. He had a little bit of a checkup early on, and now finding that he is in the mix for the second haul of points in the top 5. Only 10 places get points at the end of each stage, and we're watching the top 5 have a go at it. A little bit further down, we've got Dan Blanco, Gary Wallman, and Ruben Phelps also pushing each other.
Yeah, they're trying to see if they can catch back up to the lead pack here. I don't know if there's going to be enough time, because it is the last lap of stage number 2. It is a 5-car breakaway trying to bring home the top 5 spots in this stage. But the next 3, they've got to run. Blinko and Wellman and Phelps. I don't think they're out of it, actually. They're getting a huge run down the back straightaway. It's going to be close. Oh, I think they might be there at this point. I don't know. But Craig Roffey trying to battle on the outside, trying to get the run outside of Caleb O'Connor. Off of turn 4. Green and white checkered in his sights. Roffey goes high at the line. It is Caleb O'Connor winning stage number 2 by 1/1000th of a second.
Just managing to keep it all together. Took the gamble and got the win in stage 2. I'm sure breathing a sigh of relief that entire lap. He was holding his breath, especially with here on the spotter's call accident to the right, so hoping that he wouldn't get pulled into it. Craig Roffey gonna be happy on his run, scores a second place. Nick will be in third by the end of it. I mean, this has been a manic drive, a great one, and everyone pushing that little bit harder to see what they can do.
Absolutely, just incredible work by Caleb O'Connor. And how about the man behind the BMG 700, Nick Burling, bringing it home third place in that stage. Phenomenal job by Nick out there.
Got to also point out, Craig Roffey is one of the very few drivers that's managed to score points in stage 1 and in stage 2 towards the sharp end of the field. So he's going to be looking forward to how this race is going to go for his championship as it barrels him on forward. And for the start of this 18 race season, it's going to be really helpful to try and get the leg up on the competition.
Absolutely. You don't know how the points are going to end up. You don't want to be kicking yourself, thinking on the points that you gave up early, thinking, man, if I just pushed a little harder, if I didn't make that mistake, things might have turned out different.
Derek Jacobs pulling into the pits, getting his car sorted out and sporting a more of a stealth delivery this time around, not having any colors on the car, but two cars that are laps down on the field. Nicholas Welsh and Greg Chilton, who are laps down on the rest of the field. But I do want to give props to them as well. They still going and driving. They still circulating. They see it through to the end as drivers pull into the pits and getting themselves organized. You can see a little bit of work on the steering being done for some as they're adjusting fuel levels, trying to see if they need to take on a new set of tires or if they're going to be keeping the same set on. They've only got 3 sets of tires this entire race, and we're only on lap 53 of 100. We just over halfway through, and you can see how critical it is to get into the box. A little skew for Gary Wellman, and just ahead of him, well, looks like it was Phelps that went a little too far in his box and had to pull back a bit.
Well, we will see how this pit stop ends up. We are going to take a breath and take a break, and we will be back.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1300 122 598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Alrighty, we are back and about ready to get back at it here. Resetting the top 10, it is Steve Hoppett staying out. Will take over the lead of this race, and it looks like David Simmons has done the same. Gary Wellman, Jason Tyerman, and Adam Malone will round out the top 5. Then Adam Malone, Todd Maxfield, Nigel Patton, Colin Bennett, and Tony Roffe, the top 10.
I've got to say, looking on board with Steve Hopper, he just looks like such a chilled guy at the moment. You think for sitting at the sharp end of the field, you've gone and only had 2 stops this entire race, and now you find yourself in the lead. A little bit of a chat, seems relaxed, I've got to say. Calmest driver I've seen in the hot seat.
It's funny you think that. Meanwhile, you see the pace car get ready to make that hard left-hand turn onto pit road. Steve Hoppett is going to lead us back to the restart zone. And Green Bean's go. We're back on our way at Daytona. Great job from Hoppett on those older tires, able to keep the power underneath it and hold on to this lead as Simmons trying to take it from him.
My eyes didn't deceive me. I saw the brake lights come on just for a split second on Steve Hoppett's car, just so he didn't ride into the side of David Simmons, and you can see how he's getting absolutely swallowed up by the field as they come marching on through. He's stuck in the middle and losing out a bit of time. However, it is going to be a good run for Gary Wellman and Craig Roffe, though. They managing to climb up through the order and see what they can do. Todd Maxfield as well, managing to move himself up into the top 4 and getting a solid run up at the top.
Yeah, great job by Simmons to take the lead of the race, and good job by Hoppett to not really lose that many spots. You see, he was able to hop in line right there on the inside, holding on to that 5th spot. So, good work. So that's Pat trying to see if he can fill the gap, and he cannot. Steve says no.
Charging on through, keeping the momentum going. Steve trying to hold the inside line. Nigel going around the outside. Got a heck of a run into the corner. So does Tony Roffe, getting a bit of a climb back up and now trying to charge their way through. A couple of drivers that in the first stage of the race were landing up trying to play dodgems, now find their way back to the sharp end of the order and trying to see if they can go for an out-and-out run. As you see, Jason Tyerman, who was part of an earlier incident, now finds himself back into the top 10, the purple right on the outside, trying to charge his way through and trying everything he can to move up towards the top 5. One car that desperately needs points now.
Meanwhile, Nigel Patton, all by himself, just drove up and took the lead of this race. What a power move by the 90 car.
Utilizing power of Volivin to try and charge his way through. And I don't think David Simmons Winton found that too pleasing, as he got a brilliant start. Now finds himself in 2nd place, trying to play a little bit of catch-up and see how far forward they can go. Also, these cars will be running a little bit lighter than planned. In other words, it's going to be skating around, bouncing left and right on the circuit. Also, We've got to talk about it, James. The human element coming into play, the amount of focus these drivers had to keep going, especially as the race essentially had a start-stop sort of process with the stages. That can take you out of the race. You have to keep yourself really focused and going, but also the physical aspect. Your shoulders are starting to ache. Your arms are starting to ache. Your legs are starting to ache. You're starting to get that buildup of lactic acid in your calves that's coming into it. You're starting to realize, hang on, I'm not quite comfortable in the seat as we're now in the latter part of the race. And this is where, as you pointed out before the broadcast, the endurance aspect comes into play.
Absolutely, and you're not guaranteed any cautions this time out. You don't know if you're going to get a break. You don't know if the next time you have to get off the gas is for a caution or for the checker flag. So that's something really weighing on the drivers. And don't forget, we're going to have to make a pit stop at some point in this final stage. So I imagine things are going to be somewhat status quo as guys just try to save and make that final pit stop all that much quicker. Like I said, manufacture their own track position, as much control over the race as you're gonna get in a scenario like this.
Nick Burling managing to move himself ahead of Nigel Patton after a stellar drive. Nigel trying to push him forward, see if they can break away from the queue. But we're starting to see a little bit of a three-wide situation coming in. Steve Hoppert stuck to the outside, trying to move on forward, but it's getting a bit manic in the middle.
That it sure is. Steve, one-man band up at the top, trying to hold serve. We've seen it done and done plenty of times. It's never a spot you really want to be in, even still. Oh, Steve kind of gets a little bit of the wall right there.
Kim Roffe, after an earlier incident, finds back up into 8th position and charging on forward. However, Nick Burling currently at the top of the order, had the longest, was part of the longest pit stop time on the previous, 31.07 seconds. Now fighting down to the apron to try and stop Nigel from getting past, but also I think Nigel leaning on that left rear quarter a little bit hard, and it's starting to put pressure on Nick to try and keep that car in check, as Steve Hoppert now finding himself back in for the fight. Dan Blinko down at the bottom suddenly sees a bit of shade of purple coming around and ahead of his nose. Steve around the outside, keeping his foot deep in it, and Nigel trying his best to shove the queue forward, knows he's got a problem on his hands.
Yeah, he does. There's a whole lot of purple on that outside lane. Kim Roffe and Jacob Dean right behind. We also got Greg Schulten up there in the fray. Greg currently 8 laps down right now. One of 3 cars a lap down. Derek Jacobs and Nicholas Walsh, the other 2 just 1 lap down each. So those 2 are definitely doing the caution dance right now.
Difficult part, but in oval racing, blue flag doesn't mean get out the way. You are racing. You're going to keep your foot in it, and you can't go and cause a loss of position as well for everyone behind. It's always a difficult one, but you've got to also have that little bit of patience, and something that each of these drivers know they need to do. Keep patient, work with one another, and as it was explained by our director Kobe, saying it's like a family. Sometimes you get along, sometimes you don't, but ideally at the end of the day, you need to work together for the goal.
And honestly, if I was them, I'd try to let Schulten get up here and lead. You know, becomes a symbiotic relationship at that point. Let Greg be out in front, get one of his laps back, and then you just sit behind him and try to save fuel behind a car you're technically not really racing. Whoa, someone got spit up by the wall, and they're making it 3 wide. I believe that's Paul Jackson.
Getting a bit lively out at the back. Drivers doing everything they can. Paul Jackson trying to see if he can copy the moves done by Nick Burling, Nigel Patton, and also let Steve Hoppett's done. Go to the outside and try and swing around through above both queues. However, not turning out to be an easy one though, as the drivers fire on through, trying everything they can. Lap 65 out of 100. And for round 1 of the season, it is all or nothing for our drivers to keep their foot in it, to go that little bit more. Who has got enough in the tank to keep that charge on? And it looks like everyone is absolutely getting their elbows out. Winston said it's all about getting the ring rust off. Well, ring rust gone. It's been bounced out as we've been seeing sparks kicked up off the back of these cars as they charge on through. Not having an easy time here, and NASCAR, well, eat your heart out. This is what Aussie V8s look like around your very same circuit.
Major scary vibes right there. Nick Burling having a moment through the tri-oval, having to save it, but boy howdy, everyone's life flashing before their eyes as that very well could have been big one number 3, and that would have taken out a lot of front runners right there.
You want to have in this race, especially towards the end. Any damage now incurred can absolutely bin you down the order, and also any massive impacts can be your race over and done with. I know a couple of drivers there are busy thinking, all right, I've had my second life now, I just got to try and keep it going. I'm not a cat at this stage, as Steve Hoppett takes over the lead, but he's under pressure. Paul Jackson firing back around the outside.
Well, Burling kind of going on the apron there. Corner entry. Are just rolling 2 wide. Haven't seen any 3 wide in a minute, not counting Paul with his big move to get himself up into the fray. See, look at that huge, sorry to cut you off there, Steven, but look at that huge line of cars all the way out the back, just saving fuel. Look at all that.
Lift and coast and try and keep it all together, but there's one that's getting very frustrated sitting at the back. Kim Roffey trying to peer on forward, seeing what he can do to try get into the fight. Steve Hoppett, Nick Burling, Paul Jackson, and Kim going and fighting out between one another. And quite a few drivers going and dipping their inside wheel onto that apron, trying to see if they can peer a little bit further on. But very, very difficult to do with this 31-degree banking, as you do unsettle the car quite a bit. It's quite a drop. It bottoms out the car and you can have it snap around you, especially here at Daytona. We've seen it time and time again over the years and years of racing. And these drivers are pushing every little bit of that limit that they can.
Absolutely, as you saw, Nick Burling gets his way back up to the front of this race. See Steve just selecting to park behind the 700 and just save fuel.
Jackson firing back around the outside, knowing what's at stake here. And Nigel, after a stellar drive, now trying to see what he can do to stay in for the fight. Currently sitting in 3rd place, wanting to move up into at least 2nd place. A solid drive from our competitors early on. I've just got to take my hat off. David Simmons, who was one of the drivers in the first stage that landed up in the very first wreck that saw the safety car come out, now finding himself up into P8, 3 places down from where he started, but is also in for a chance to score a few points here. Gary Wellman trying to get involved in the fight. Todd Maxfield down in the top 10, 1 position off from where he started. But our hardest charger at the moment Nick Burling, currently 22 positions up since the start of the race and having an absolute manic run at the sharp end of the field. Paul Jackson slipping down the order and trying to keep the car in check.
Yeah. Saw the 700 shoot up the racetrack a little bit, exit turn 4. A lot closer than you want to be or really need to be at this point. So now Paul takes the run and gets to... Whoa! Nick Burling tries to jump to the outside and just stuffed it into the wall. And that's going to cause a lot of chaos behind, trying to figure out what on earth is going on with the 700 car. And if he even has enough pace at this point. Not sure how much damage that contact gave, but... Oh, that is rough. That's a unforced error right there.
Absolutely sacrificed Nigel Patton as well, who came off the throttle and got swallowed up by the field, going and bouncing from 3rd all the way into 10th, trying to avoid being part of that wreck. And unfortunately, will be going and saying, well, that cost me a bit of time. Now you need to either move on forward or get out of the way. You're costing me time here.
Absolutely. You see Burling still able to be in that lead pack. So it's not completely killed, but that is significant damage on that right front corner. And I don't know if it's going to be... Yeah, whoa. Curious to see if he is going to take the faster pair when everyone finally brings it down. Oh, and he's squeezing Jacob Dean up to the wall. Gives the apologies to Jacob, but boy, that was probably terrifying for him.
Makes you wonder if there's damage to the right-hand wheel that's going and causing the car to flick around a little bit, becoming a little bit more unpredictable. Comes out of the throttle, allowing the rest of the field to go, but you can see busy moving left to right, the rear not so happy and having to fight tooth and nail to keep that car pointing in a straight line. However, it is Paul Jackson at the sharp end of the field, but behind him in the rearview mirrors, it is absolutely manic as Nigel's getting around.
Oh, Nigel Patton going around. Oh, and here's big one, number 3, Burling involved. A hard hit for Todd Maxfield. Schulten involved. Jacob Dean. See Colin Bennett. Oh, Todd Maxfield. Oh my God. I just hope Todd's okay. You see, I think contact from Tony Raffi into the 90, that puts Nigel sideways and just everything is going haywire. And we gotta get a look on board of the 16.
Just taking a look, the 44 colored Red Bull of Greg Schulten all the way out from the Netherlands. Just not having a happy time this time by.
We gotta see the outside view, the airtime that car got when he hit the wall. Yeah, here we go. Watch. That completely left the track surface. He was airborne. I hope he hasn't used his fast repair. And I hope there's a fast repair for the driver. Because I'm pretty sure... I'm pretty sure his brain probably isn't feeling all that great with that impact into the wall. That probably several levels above a concussion. Wow.
One way to go and cosplay as part of the US Air Force Thunderbirds that usually fly over Daytona during the Daytona 500. Steve Hoppert into the pits, Kim Roffey, Dan Blinko, David Sims, Jake Atkin, Nigel Patton, all into the pits. Todd Maxfield, serious damage to his car, unfortunately needing some serious work to the car. And it does look like Greg managing to get his car back out onto the circuit after having a little bit of a nightmare, being involved in 2 different wrecks. Finds himself right at the bottom, trying to pick up the pieces. But there is the remnants of Todd's car, just lying in a heap in the pits there, and not looking like a happy chappy. Quite a few drivers going and feeling the pain from this previous incident, and will be thinking, right, that just changed up the entirety of the race. Lap 76 out of 100. Everyone now needing to try and reset and refocus. Paul Jackson still in the lead of this race. Tony Roffey managed to climb up into second, with Gary Wellman in third, Shane Roffey into fourth, and Craig Roffey into that top 5, having a stellar run. But quite a few drivers managing to capitalize on early mistakes now find themselves at the sharp end of the field. I mean, Gary Wellman has been in through pit lane 5 times in this race, and so far is now finding himself up into 3rd place. So in and out through the pits has definitely helped him out towards the end of the race. Lady Luck smiling at the moment, and hopefully Murphy's not sitting with the 10 socket that he lost and the 13 spanner that he dropped in the pits.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we are going to go ahead, take a breath, take a break, and we will be back shortly.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uestas.com.au or call 1300 122 598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
All right, we are back and already ready to get back at it as Paul Jackson will lead us back to the restart zone. Green means going. We're back underway at Daytona. Start of inadvertent stage 4 is we're going to only have like 23 laps to go. So you see, look at that. All the Roffies are lined up. How about that for staying together as a family?
An absolutely great one. Also, take a look at Nigel, who was part of the problem of our original safety car. Now finds himself back up to the top as well, trying to push on forward as we're going 3 wide. Drivers all looking to mount a charge early on the restart. It was a slow start, but it is turning into a bit of an elbow contact. Craig Roffey, Tony Roffey, Paul Jackson, all having a go at one another, trying to move up through the order. Nigel trying to keep it out of the wall out to the top.
Yeah, see, he's giving a little bit of help to Craig right now, trying to get that outside lane rolling.
Another unfortunate problem coming in. Nicholas Welsh finds himself back in pit lane, and after speeding into the pits, gets a black flag. Not the way you want to have your race going. First, it was, well, having an unfortunate one of a hip check. Now finding yourself speeding into pit lane, staring at the back of Todd Maxfield's car, and we'll be thinking, not quite what I want to do. And now seeing the cars charging on past.
See, Nigel's moved down to the middle, pushing Tony here. Oh, he's got to be careful, getting a little bit off-centered right now. We've seen that go bad many, many, many times over the years at this racetrack. Is there a clear? And look at the big move from Patton to drop down to the inside.
Patton carrying a lot of momentum down on the inside line, leaving everyone to their own devices. But take a look, it is the likes of Tony, Craig, and Shane Roffey, along with Kim Roffey, to join in for the fight. Nigel is in a family feud around him, and he wants to get out of it as fast as possible, not to go and get caught out in an absolute monstrous run. But it's 3 wide at the front, everyone having to be careful, everyone really leaning on each other. The question is, how long can they go? How long can the tires last, especially with the heat cycle?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think tires are going to be much of a worry at this point. You do not have enough laps left for that to really rear its ugly head. It's just keep it flat to the floor. Like Andy J said, don't lift until you see God or the checker flag. It's under 20 to go here.
Three by three they go in the first and the second row. Ultimately a hard charge. Lucian trying to move up through the order in the 42, currently up into 7th position. Paul Jackson in 8th, Jake Atkins in 9th, and David Simmons rounding out your top 10. But everyone above David Simmons have all managed to climb up a position from where they started. No one is losing out a bit of time here. Craig Roffey down 1 only now as he gets bumped down to 3rd, back up to 2nd ahead of Nigel. I mean, that's just a telling sign of the race. How drivers have maintained position, how some have really gone and taken a solid leap up the order. I mean, Shane Roffey up 22 positions since the start of this race. Now fighting out tooth and nail, looking at the win right in front of him.
Yeah, but the big question becomes is, can they hold on to it? Are they going to keep it clean? We've already seen it go wrong a few times. Are we going to see one more big one here? And I think that's what a lot of cars are expecting. We still have quite a few just hanging out in the back, waiting for the potentially inevitable strike.
Problem is, the more that you sit and wait, and if it doesn't happen, you're going to kick yourself as well. So it's kind of a roll of the dice, one would say. You're going to have to roll the dice and see whether you get it right or whether you get the snake eyes. But it does look like each of the drivers will be trying that little bit harder, trying to sink their teeth into the fight and ultimately see if they can stay at the sharp end of the order. It is now or never to pull the trigger and make it work for you.
Absolutely. The problem is that where do you go? You can't make it 4 wide. There's nowhere to go. You're having to kind of hope for that wreck. If you're anyone... Whoa, we almost got it as Kim makes contact with the wall.
and steady. Keep an eye on the 61 lying in the middle. Has been moving around quite a bit. Shane Roffey going and trying to keep the car all together. Losing out the rear every so often on the tri-oval. Having to try and figure out where on earth he can get that little bit of a grip. But it's a hard push. And Craig Roffey to the lead. Drops down to the low line. And now trying to keep up a solid momentum. Nigel trying to lean on him on the left-hand side quite a bit.
Whoa!
Try and push on through.
Jake Atkinson tried to jump to the outside line. Oh, contact with Burling is going to put Atkinson on the wall, and they're wrecking. Boy.
Lots and lots of carnage, and all I can hear that would be playing over the radio is "Dearly beloved, we gathered here today to mourn the loss of safety rating, I rating, and all the spares out on circuit as our pace car looks to try and pick up the leader." Not what you want to have. Adam Malone once again finding himself at the back of the pack.
Yeah, you see, this is going to start. Atkinson tries to go up to the outside. Burling kind of wants to go there as well, blocks the run, and then Atkinson's there, and just kind of looks like Nick forgot he was there and just kind of went up to the wall with the 88 car very much still on his outside, and all heck breaks loose from there.
Tried dancing at the wedding and ultimately stood on the toes of your partner, and that's pretty much the only way I can talk about that being a disaster, and landed up with the rest of the field that were taking that side of caution at the start of the race, waiting at the back, and as you said, waiting for the inevitable carnage that might happen. They landed up getting sucked right into it. I mean, take a look at how hard Matthew Raymond had to hit the brakes to just slow the car down, not to be involved into the fight, seeing the three of Adam Malone bouncing around.
Yeah, and in fact, looks like netcode from Nick's car coming back down the track is what sent Adam Malone around.
Being said, we've also got to talk about one fundamental rule that does happen, and that is incident limits that, well, you can pick up a few incident points on the way through. And Adam Malone, unfortunately, finds himself a little bit down the order, but it's Steve Hoppert, who at the moment has a black flag. Jason Turman as well. Jake Atkins as well landed himself with a black flag, needing to serve a drive-through on the way through. And quite a few cars just landing up in the dirt, and also one just deciding to throw it into the infield.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Jake Atkinson. Not sure what happened to Jake.
Going and clipping a little bit onto the infield, getting the power down, and ultimately losing out. And I think a bit of frustration coming in. Team saying, listen, that's the race done for you. Take a breather, walk it off, and keep an eye on the rest as season's not over. This is round 1 out of 18 for our second half of the 2026 season. I've got to say, it's absolutely wonderful to be here, James, and also to go and see everyone joining in the virtual grandstands out at Inside Lane Productions, keeping an eye on round 1 of our 2026 B.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably what happened is the Atkinson just got loose on pit road exit and it just kind of spun into the infield. Didn't quite get a look on what exactly happened, but yeah, it's just absolutely unfortunate for Jake right there.
Well, James, this does bring in the real factor of trying to keep it all together, but also where you've got to try and you got to calm down when it comes to these type of races. It gets quite manic up at the front. Sometimes it gets quite heated. but the drivers needing to try and recompose themselves behind the safety cars. We do see drivers pulling into the pits. Greg Chilton being one of them. Steve Hoppert finds himself getting assaulted. There's Greg's car all the way out from the Netherlands, trying to get himself all figured out from the race. He's been into the pits a few times so far, but ultimately is still circulating, because it doesn't matter where exactly you finish out, you've got to try and see it through. I always land up saying, if you see the green, you've got to see the checkered. And in a race like this, for a season of absolute left, right, and center battles, you need to score every point you can, whether it's 1 or whether it's 10 or whether it's the full grasp of points. The only way you're going to find out if you get it is if you stay out and keep your foot in it.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. So we'll go ahead.
Anyway, the back markers feel better.
Yeah, honestly. Resetting the top 10 here. It is all Rafi front row. Craig and Tony with Nigel Patton and Gary Wellman behind them. Then Shane Rafi, P5. Lucky Urquijo, Kim Rafi, David Simmons, Ruben Phelps, and Paul Jackson, the top 10. And that is definitely not what you wanted to see, that caution, if you were the Rafis. They had just made it to where a Rafi was leading all 3 lanes. And now they've got to work to set that up all over again, as the pace car is getting ready to make the hard left-hand turn on a pit road. Craig Rafi, well, he is back to the green flag. And green means go. We're back underway at Daytona. 11 laps to go in the season opener. You see a great jump from Craig. Does he try to jump up in front of Tony? He does not. He elects to stay there on the inside in front of Nigel Patton. You see David Simmons looking to be the first one to jump out high, but he won't. It's going to be Wellman making that move, and he's getting pushed by Urquijo. And now here comes David Simmons right behind Tony Rafi, and we're 3 wide once again. Whoa, a little bit of contact between Simmons and Shane. Whoa, contact between Tony and Wellman. Oh boy, 10 laps to go.
That right leg starting to get the jumps on it. The hands starting to shake. Drivers giving it everything they can. And this will be the longest 10 laps in history for these drivers as they keep their foot in it, trying to push up towards the top. Craig Rafi started in second, finds himself dropping down to third. As we do see, he is in a monstrous fight. Gary Wellman up in the lead of the race thus far.
Oh no! Contact! Simmons and Tony Rafi, or Shane Rafi, and they both save it. What a save by both of them. And that's gonna completely break up the pack. Everyone's scattering, trying to find position, trying to find some draft, trying to see if they can mount a comeback at this point, as it's now almost, I'd say, an 8-9 car breakaway at this point. You see the first
about a race going manic.
And you see here comes Troy Mortensen, and he's got Colin Bennett right behind him. And I tell you, the pack is coming. And that's Scott McClintock. Oh, look at that. The green and white cars, they're leaning on each other. Wellman versus Rafi. We've seen this battle I don't know how many times over the years. The two grizzled veterans. Go on, Steven.
I was going to say, as the laps are ticking on by, each of the drivers are getting more and more desperate to lean on one another, and also taking that low line, trying everything they can to just maximize the pace, burning off the grip, just trying to burn off.
Whoa!
And it's getting manic at the front.
More door banging as here comes Equijo around the outside. Got his sister teammates right behind Mortensen and Colin Bennett. As you see, most everyone has caught their way back up. It is a full field fight right now with 7 to go.
Craig getting a bit loose out there as he's getting pushed on forward, but doing everything he can. Nigel really leaning on him, but is not square. And every time, Craig's having to catch the rear of the car, fighting underneath him. Gary Wellman trying to push on forward, seeing if he can retake the lead of the race. Everyone wants to be in the front, but there can only be one winner as they count down the laps. 7 to go, next time by 6, and then first place is open to nearly the entirety of the field.
See, right now they're trying to get the speed built back up. You saw Craig edge forward just a little bit. Doesn't seem to be quite enough energy to keep the middle and the outside directly. Oh, contact, we're 4 wide. Oh, and Mortensen, around goes Morty. Oh, he gets belted. Oh my God, Mortensen is flipping and barrel rolling down the banking. Oh, I don't think it's the end of Troy Mortensen, but I think it's the end of Troy Mortensen. Oh, no! Okay, it might be the end of Troy Mortensen, too.
Hard impact, changing it all up. And take us through, James. I mean, that was just all she wrote for a number of cars.
Yeah, you see Paul Jackson gonna slide up into Tony, which puts him into Mortensen. Around goes Mortensen, and look at that! Look at that! Oh my God!
Peppy from Star Fox shouting, "Do a barrel roll!" just to see what happens. Not often you get to see an Aussie V8 get chucked up in the air as it does, but absolutely a hard impact as we jump on board, and this is where you hope you're not wearing any VR headset.
Gonna see him do a reverse kickflip into a 420 pop shove it. No manual needed there. And then unfortunately, it ends with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4, or Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5, rather, with Mortensen ending up in the wall another time after that.
Now I've got a question. Would that be 131's radio's hardest hit?
I don't know at this point. I still think that goes to Maxfield, but I think that's the most fascinating hit.
It's just absolutely, if you think about these cars, the aerodynamic package of them is to stick them to the ground as much as possible. The rear wing also helps out. But even though you flatten out the car as much as possible, the aerodynamics on these Gen 3 Aussie V8s, to get airtime just shows how much speed, how much energy, and how hard you've actually gone and smacked the wall to get at that little bit of a jump, to get someone underneath you and use their car essentially as a ramp to throw you up. But now it just changes out the field, as we do see a couple of cars going around the safety car. For those that aren't sure, those are the wave bars that get allowed, and drivers will be utilizing it. They'll get past the safety car, get a lap back on the field, and try and get back up to the queue. But it also pushes everyone back to where they needed to be. Craig Roffey, surviving the battle, currently holds on, but as the laps count down, James, you've been in this position more than once, being at the sharp end of the field, having the amount of laps tick on by below 5, and you've got a very, very, very hungry grid behind you that has been fighting tooth and nail. We saw 3 wide in 3 rows, all going and vying for the top spot. But we know there can only be one winner come the end of round 1. And at the moment, Craig Roffey is looking to try and get the jump. He's got Gary Wellman that's going to have a go at him. You've also got the likes of Loughran, who's managed to move himself up into 4th position. He started out at the back of the field and managed to just chip away every so through. Paul Jackson we've seen has led out the field. Gillespie has managed to get himself back up into the top 6. Collett Bennett, Tony Roffey, Jacob Dean, David Simmons. I mean, you look at the names that are in the fight, everyone there has at some point put their nose forward and saw a number 1 on their relative.
Absolutely. And with this, I believe we are going to be getting a natural green-white checkered. Oh, dearie me.
James, I don't know if you play a lot of D&D, but I think these drivers are about to roll the D20 dice and see whether it's going to be a victory for them, a natural 20, and a couple hoping that they don't land up seeing and becoming SpaceX by rolling a natural 1, as we've seen a little bit early on in this race. But as we look at the sharp end of the field, every single person here now finds themselves in a very advantageous position to go for the victory. 3 laps to go, and it's about getting a phenomenal start, breaking away from the field, and a little bit of lady luck going and cheering you on. And I know everyone in the virtual grandstands is absolutely going nuts for this.
Yeah, I believe there's a few drivers prone here, and there's going to be... Well, I'm pretty sure Tom Maxfield might be have paralysis from one of those impacts. Keeping with the D&D theme there a little bit. But with that, the pace car is going to make the hard left-hand turn on the pit road. Craig Roffey will lead us back to the restart zone. Green means go, and we're back underway at Daytona. 2 laps to go. As Arquijo once again, like he was doing most of that last run, is pushing Gary Wellman up to the front. What? Roffey getting the help from Nigel Patton. And right now, the lone car up front is Giuseppe Maiolo, but he is going to get help from Tony Roffey. As here we go, the shoves are going to be the hardest and the biggest we've seen all night. 3 wide for the lead. And you see that the outside lane has already just absolutely died out. What does this do for those on the inside and the middle as the white flag is in sight? 1 lap to go. Oh, and there's contact. Tony Roffey in the wall. Colin Bennett into the catch fence as they scatter behind. But we've already taken the white flag. The race is green to the checkered. Arquijo still pushing Wellman as here comes Maiolo getting the shove from Paul Jackson. O'Connor also joining the 3rd lane. Here comes Dean looking. Oh, but Kim Roffey is going to shut the door as Wellman and Roffey are side by side. Coming off of turn 4. Wellman getting the shove from Arquijo. Getting pushed down in front. Oh, they're wrecking. Trying to get position at the line. It's Wellman. Gary Wellman wins at Daytona.
And Caleb O'Connor managing to rob 2nd place right at the end as well. Craig Roffey comes across the line in 3rd. Man, oh man, you couldn't have wrote a more crazy story. But Gary Wellman defied all odds. 10 places up from the start. The 45 taking the win. And Caleb O'Connor from way back managed to latch on to 2nd place and drove through the smoke with the wreck in front of him.
Oh man, Gary Wellman survives the Watson curse and draws first blood here in season 26B. And Wellman is gonna burn it down.
Absolutely deserved. Wellman going and really putting on a show and can soak it up here at Daytona. Very few can say they've gone and taken the victory 100 laps into the race, managing to cross the line and takes the victory here. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. 250 miles, 402.3 kilometers, and takes the victory over a 27 stacked grid that he had to fight against the odds to climb all the way up through the order. I mean, you couldn't have been a happier camper from there. Gary Wellman, from qualifying in P11, finds himself up 10 places.
Well said, my friend. But with that, we're gonna roll into our final break of the night, and we will be back to talk to the top three.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Need reliable electrical solutions you can count on? The UES group of companies has got you covered. From electrical installations and repairs through to all your compliance and tagging requirements, United Electrical and United Essential Solutions are here to help. Whether it's commercial electrical projects or home renovations, United Electrical can help make it happen. Need to secure your investment with an automatic gate? We can be there from the start of manufacturing right through to the final installation. We even offer excavation services to reduce the need to employ multiple trades. Need to get your electrical equipment tagged to meet compliance? Our United Essential Solutions team are here to help. Appliance tagging, emergency lighting, switchboard inspections, building compliance? Look no further than United Essential. UES Group is 100% Australian owned and operated. We pride ourselves on our customer service and commitment. Visit uests.com.au or call 1-300-122-598 to learn more. Or find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Alrighty, we are back, and let's go ahead and run through the final results. Your race winner, Gary Wellman from Caleb O'Connor and Craig Ruffy. Giuseppe Maiolo and Paul Jackson round out the top five. Nigel Patton, Kim Ruffy, Jacob Dean, Lockie Arquijo, and Ruben Phelps, the top 10. Dan Blinko. Oh, go on, Steven.
After you, James. After you.
Dan Blinko, Adam Malone, Jason Tyerman, Scott McClintock, and Tony Raffi, the top 15. Nick Burling, David Simmons, Colin Bennett, Derek Jacobs, and Matty Raymond rounding out the top 20. Shane Raffi, Nicholas Walsh, Steve Hoppett, Troy Mortensen, Greg Schulten, Jake Atkinson, and Todd Maxfield round out the field in tonight's season opener at Daytona. And with that, we'll go ahead and get to our interviews, and we're going to start with third place. Craig, James in the booth, you got a copy?
Hey fellas, how are you?
Doing all right. That was, first of all, that was some incredible teammates or teamwork we saw. The whole Raffi family right there. Like, you had all four of you guys right there, 2 and 2 on the outside I-2 lanes. It seemed like it was in complete control for you guys if we didn't get that caution.
Yeah, it was good to have the two older brothers and my dad racing, and all of us in the top 10. I did try to drop down in front of Patton to try to control 3 lanes, but yeah, something happened, and then a couple other cars got in front of us. But no, it was good to have the boys up there, have a taste of the pointy end.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting race. It seemed like passing was a lot more difficult this time around because of how quickly everyone went 3 wide and kind of filled up the lanes. Like, where do you go if everyone's already 3 wide?
That's it. I think once you get 3 wide, you're boxed in. You can't go anywhere. So it's more of a race for the outside lane. Take it 3 wide, otherwise, you know, you can't go 4 wide here. It's just too bumpy and just not enough room for error. So once you get the first cars on the outside lane, that's it. You're boxed in.
Yeah, and now it's still a great start to the season for you points wise. Got a lot of stage points, P3 that sets you up a pretty good start to the season in route for another championship here.
Yeah, two stage second places and a third place. So that's like you said, a good start to the year, and hopefully it continues on. So yeah, I'll be fighting for stage points throughout the year, and obviously for the big dub at every race.
Alrighty, well, great night for you tonight. Any sponsors, plugs in, shout outs you like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, just the family, we'll call it. They're coming out. Hopefully we'll see 4 of us every week, and we've got Rick coming back. He got his times mixed up and missed out. But yeah, MD Sports with us. You guys in the broadcast, Kobe for putting it on. Everyone else, all the other sponsors involved. Sorry, I don't know them all, but yeah, thanks for putting it on, and let's go again next week.
We appreciate you, Craig, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week.
Cheers, mate. Hopefully. Maybe not.
All right, there's your third place man, Craig Raffi, and now Steven is going to talk to our runner-up.
Yo.
Caleb O'Connor, can you hear me?
Yep.
Absolutely stellar run. Managing to get the victory in stage 2 of this race and capturing a second place right at the end, having to drive through the smoke. How are you feeling at the end of it? Nerves shot just as yet?
It was pretty shocking, man. I was in 9th at the white flag, and I got a good run coming to the checkered, and the bottom lane just lost all their momentum, so I could get to the bottom and just snag a few positions there.
That being said, a good haul of points managing to score here at Daytona. I mean, this is a brilliant start to the championship. How are you feeling going forward? Is it a confidence, I've got this, or is this now seeing the competition so fierce and incredibly quick, fighting against one another, makes it a little bit more of a cautious approach?
I definitely think it'll be a team game, and looking at this race, the competition is pretty fierce, so definitely a team game going forward.
And I've got to ask a question. You feeling confident to put yourself back on the podium come next week?
Yeah, man. Feeling pretty good after that.
Well, definitely Lady Luck was in the pits. Before we let you go, anyone you want to say a thank you to out on the track for the teams, the drivers, everyone here at the OzOval V8 SC, and also to everyone out in the virtual grandstands?
Just like to thank my Yellow Group, Bosworth Setups, and Fox One Racing for their support. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone watching.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. Caleb O'Connor taking second place here tonight. Got a stage 2 victory. But James, you've caught up with our winner of tonight.
Yes, sir. Gary, James in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, James, how's things, mate?
Oh, not as good as they are for you. How about that? That is exactly how you want to start the season off right there.
Yeah, sure was. It's yeah, she was a fun bit of a race tonight, and yeah, I think the last couple of seasons I've had a shocker for the first round or a couple of rounds, so it's nice to get off to a good start. I was happy just to take a top 5 really for the first round, just to get some points on the board. But yeah, P1s, can't complain with that.
Absolutely, and that was definitely a wild race out there. I asked this to Craig earlier. It seemed like a nightmare to pass because of, you know, how quickly everyone went 3 wide, and the fact that 4 wide was absolutely non-negotiable.
Yeah, you wouldn't be trying 4 wide on here. It'd end up in tears pretty quick. But yeah, 3 wide, you really had to sort of commit early, and just, I did it a couple of times and just ran to the front on the outside. And yeah, and it's interesting, the stage races mixes it up, because my normal strategy is just to hang back, and you can't afford to do that with this sort of format now. I kind of just had to use an early caution, I think, just to top off some fuel so I could gain some spots in the stage break pit stop, and then just try and sit at the front for the rest of the race and try and hope for the best and avoid carnage. But yeah, it worked out well. And shout out to Lockie Urquhart, because he's an awesome pusher, and he probably got me over the line there, and it's a bug of him, he got turned and didn't have the best finish, but it's always good having him giving you a good push.
Absolutely. And how does this set you up for the rest of the season? Obviously, you talked about how the last few season openers definitely didn't go your way, and it didn't matter 2 seasons ago. It kind of mattered last season. So having the opposite of that and being able to start off with the win and having all those points, it gives you great momentum here going into the next few races as we roll into the start in this season.
Yeah, that's it. Like I say, it's always good to jump out for a good start and not play catch up like I seem to be. All I was doing last season is just trying to close the gap on Ruben, and yeah, sooner or later it's just, the job becomes too tough. But yeah, nice to sort of put him in the hot seat now, number 1 on his door, so it always carries a bit more pressure. And yeah, he's the one chasing for a change, so hopefully I can keep it that way for a while.
Alrighty, well, it was a great run for you tonight. Any sponsors, plugs, and shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, good, nice work, Caleb and Craig. It was a good run from Caleb. Last couple of us, I think he came from way back, so that was a good drive at the end from him. But yeah, Sim Boys, all the series sponsors, Inside Lane Productions, UES Group, TWR Setups 131, everything simulated. I think that's got them all. Our other team sponsor, Hot Toddies, heating installs. And yeah, shout out for Troy for our paints too. They're pretty trick looking.
Alrighty, we appreciate you, Gary, and hopefully we're talking to you again here next week.
Cheers, James, and thanks for you guys for the broadcast. It'll be a good watch later on. It's some good racing from everyone out there tonight.
Alrighty, and that is your race winner, Gary Wellman. And that just about does it for us. Steven, what are your thoughts on your first race involved in this crazy little series here?
I gotta say, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I'm ready to start for round 2 right now, to be honest. After seeing the fights out there, the stage racing coming into play, everyone having to push that a little bit more, thinking outside the box, and also just taking the gamble. It seems like, well, my pick of having Ruben Phelps, who was the previous champion, I thought it would be a sure dunk, but it looks like the rest of the field is hungry, rolling the dice, and more than taking the chance to move up through the order, and ultimately everyone looking forward to the win.
Absolutely. But with that, it's time for us to get the heck on out of here. For my broadcast partners, Stephen Kernick and Kobe Jordan, I'm James Watson, bidding you adieu. Till next time. Good night, everyone.